Risk management, from an operations perspective, we've already discussed risk management in some degree of detail, so I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. But as far as operational management goes, risk management really isn't much different, except it's on a smaller scale. We certainly would do more formal risk management in other areas, which we've talked about. But the basic process, as we discussed before, is discovering, what all the risks are, assessing those risks, what the financial impact of those risks would be, and then understanding how you can respond to those risks, monitor those risks, and mitigate those risks. So that process still remains the same, but from an operational perspective, what we do have to be aware of more acutely than in from a larger risk management stance is being able to make sure that we can audit and that we can investigate incidences and so forth to better understand our risks for in the future. So when something happens, we're going to be looking for log files. We're going to be looking for to piece together exactly what happened. So it's important to have that all of that stuff in place in operations. So you want to make sure that you have policies and procedures for all of the logging. Make sure that everything is tracked, all the changes are tracked, and that not only is all this stuff being logged and tracked, but it's being saved, and you have a way to search it and a way to find it when something happens. And so that's one of my challenges in many cases with my customers is they'll call me and say, Brian, we had this major incident. What do we do? Okay, get me the logs, get me the records, let's piece together what happened. Oh, we don't have any of that. We don't know where it is. It's going to take us a week to find it. And by the time they find it, logs have been already cycled out, they've been deleted, things like that. So we want to make sure that we have all of that in place. In operations management, we're not so concerned about doing forensics and doing these audit investigations. We're more concerned about making sure that the tools and the information to do those is available to those people. Now, in the cloud, some of these tools are going to be in the cloud service provider. So, for example, stopping and starting virtual machines. They have a log for that. They know when people are stopping and starting machines. They know what account you logged in with. They know which machines you were touching and what you were doing, and all that's happening on the management plane. So maybe we want to make sure we have a way to capture that information from the management plane in order to log and to audit that later on if we needed to. And that's on top of whatever logging we can do within our own infrastructure that's in the cloud. So we can still do all of the traditional logging and auditing that we would do in our own environment, but there's also some information that might be available to us from the management plane that we want to be aware of and make sure that we have a way and we understand how we can get to that information. All right, and that concludes our unit on security operations for the cloud.